Heyo, welcome back to the Undrafted and Unqualified Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm Anthony here with Vinny. Just has to make sure the volume's all the way up, guys. Sorry about that, but week two in the books feels good. Both of us had some great weeks.
Yep.
One in all our leagues, both
Five
of
and oh,
us.
three
Yeah,
and oh, I think. Yeah,
yeah, three
right.
and
Three
oh,
and
three
oh.
and oh. Two that matter, but
Yeah.
regardless,
Bounce
still.
back week for fantasy in general. Like
Oh
there was a
yeah,
lot
oh yeah.
more, scoring, touchdown points. So I think it was just more exciting to watch.
More studs actually performing
Yeah.
too. You
Yep.
saw Malik Neighbors, Jamar
Yep.
Chase, they're
Yep.
back.
Guys stepped up.
Yeah, so super exciting. But all right, similar to last week, we're gonna get into it. We'll put timestamps again, so hopefully y'all enjoyed that from last week's episode. I think to us at least feels good doing this format. The hope is the recap will be a little bit quicker. I
We'll
think
try.
I think week one, it's like we have just so many players to talk
Yeah.
about for the first time, so there's a lot to do. But yeah, it should be a little bit quicker today. But I think this format works great. We can go over our starts and sits from last week too.
Oh yeah, that's a good
We'll do
point.
that right after the news,
Okay.
and we'll see we'll see how we did. But. Yeah, let's just hop right into the news. A lot of injuries to talk about. Firstly, Austin Eckler done for the year.
Mm,
It's brutal, non-contact injury.
yeah.
So,
I
yeah,
for all you Bill fans, like I guess it's a little
yeah,
moment. You never want to celebrate an injury, but I guess in terms of fantasy, it is kind of a big time boost for him.
hmm
I would say I don't know how you feel about it, but like in terms of Bill, JC, Corey Krosky Merritt, if you don't
yeah,
know who
yeah,
Bill is by now,
yeah.
I feel like he's just more of a hold for me right now. Like I
hmm
want to see like I feel like his value might have a boost, but
hmm
imagine if he goes out and has 100 and a touchdown
Yeah,
next
yeah.
game. Imagine what his value will be. So like right now he seems like a hold for me. If you have him, like congratulations. Like you have a starting running back in a Jaden
hmm
Daniels led offense. So
who are they playing this week? Do you know?
um I think I'm honestly not sure. Let me
Yeah,
see.
well, while he's looking that up, I think, right now he's definitely matchup dependent too. I think you want to consider other guys on the roster as well.
Mhm.
Maybe Chris Rodriguez will be healthy.
Well,
Um,
he's been a healthy scratch. So
yeah,
like
that's what I
he
mean.
is
Maybe he's
healthy.
going to be a
Yeah.
healthy, active
Yeah.
player. I think McNichols might be more valuable because they're going to want that replace Eckler in the pass
Hmm.
catching. So
Yep.
I think Bill's not going to change too much. I think we just know he's going to be really the bell cow, like
Ball.
in terms
Yeah.
of the carries, not
Hmm.
necessarily in the receiving game. But yeah, they got the Raiders this week.
Yep.
It's a pretty nice matchup. So I think I'm with Vinny on this one, hold, but if you have to, I think he'd be fine. I think you could
Yeah.
flex him if you need
Yeah.
to,
No.
or RB2 if you drafted poorly in the running backs.
Yeah,
So
always take a chance on a guy with volume. Like if
mhm.
he's an upside play in this case. Like
Yeah.
you said mentioned, he's in the realm to get at least 10 plus carries. So
hmm
that brings opportunity for touchdown yards, and that's what
Yeah.
you want. So yeah,
Yep.
take a shot if you want, but
Yeah. Really sucks to see though with
yeah,
Eckler just in
exactly.
general. That could be his career.
I
It
know.
really could be.
And then
So
this was more of a rebound year for or last year was
right,
for him too.
right.
So but yeah, it's unfortunate.
Tough. More injuries. Joe Burrow, turf toe, which I have had myself. It's a brutal injury, and he had the kind that you need surgery for, which
Yeah.
keeps him out at least 3 months. And yeah, that sucks. I think you got to drop everybody in the Bengals offense down a little bit. I think Jamar Chase is still going to be fine. I don't know if you can put him at one anymore. Maybe drop him a couple spots. Maybe if you'd like to. Honestly, I think he's still going to get force fed. We saw
Yeah.
Browning come in and still feed
Yep.
him, and he still was productive. I'm worried about T, and I'm a little worried about Chase Brown, even though Chase Brown's still getting everything.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
I'm honestly pretty worried about Chase Brown in terms of that
mhm,
whole offense. It
yeah,
seemed like, obviously it's a huge downgrade from Joe Burrow to Jake Browning, but it seemed like they still just let Jake Browning sling around the ball. Like,
yeah,
I think it's going to
yeah,
benefit the passing game in a lot of ways. I don't know if he'll fully support both Jamar and T on a regular basis. I think they'll both have their weeks,
mhm,
more so Jamar. But yeah, Chase Brown to me just feels like I don't know. The O-line is horrendous to begin
yeah,
with, which is the major reason Joe has been beaten up and went down
yep,
for the most
yep,
part. So like I don't know. I am a little I this ruins a few of my hot takes, including
yeah,
just the
The
Bengals
Bengals
offense as a whole,
offense.
like
Yeah.
Joe Burrow obviously out for most of the season, and then Chase Brown. So it does worry me, but I think it's just something to capitalize on. Buy low on some guys. If you think the offense isn't going to skip a beat, then go for it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. And if that's the case, if you believe still in the Bengals offense, go pick up Browning. I think
yep,
he's going
yep,
to be valuable if you still believe.
yeah.
I don't know if I do.
It.
I'm a little on the fence.
I will say he did play well
He
2 years
did.
ago
He
when
did.
Burrow went down. Like he
Yeah.
did a similar thing that he showed this game, like he can just
He's
sling the ball and
solid.
make
Yeah.
throws. So like we've seen him do this. This isn't just a one-time thing. So
Right.
you're not wrong to believe in Jake Browning. I just it'd be hard to picture him as a regular start
Yeah.
weekly.
Yeah. He's more of a stash if you go to pick him up.
Yeah.
Next injury, Jaden Daniels. Um, I think it's a sprained knee. I believe that's the injury. He's banged up, questionable heading into week 3. He's considered, I believe, day to day, but there's a chance he misses just this week. If that's the case, downgrade the whole offense. Um, Hopefully he's okay. Hopefully,
Is this the
but
same injury as he had last week? As the because he had a questionable tag going into Thursday night.
it's a good question. I
Um,
don't know.
The only reason I ask is just because I feel like with quarterbacks of his level, like we find out pretty quickly if they're going to play or not. Like I feel
Yep.
like if they have a questionable tag going into the game, they're playing. Like they
Yep.
don't mess around with
Yep.
quarterback injuries for the most part. So like it is something to monitor, but I feel like I'm pretty confident that he'll play and he'll be like a full go.
Yeah, it's just the knee and with a rushing mobile
It
quarterback.
is.
I'm a little hesitant. It's still a great matchup.
Yeah, you start him if
So
he plays.
yeah,
Like there's no
start him if he
question.
plays. Um, yeah, just have guys in the wings just in case. We'll see as the week goes on.
Hmm.
But if he's out, it seems like it is only 1 week. It
Okay.
seems like they're planning for only him to miss 1 week, which maybe they do play it safe, take him out this week and,
Hmm.
go from there.
You.
Brock Purdy, we didn't get to it. That's why I'm bringing it up now. We didn't get to it because it happened at the end of last week where they
That's
rolled
right.
him out.
You.
He's out for another, I think, 2 to 4. He was dealing with a couple things. I think there was toe and shoulder,
Hmm.
something upper body and the toe. But yeah, Purdy, we saw Mac Jones step in and be fine. I think the offense is still fine. Juwan Jennings was the beneficiary in the passing game, not Pierce Hall. So, you know, keep that in mind. But CMC was still great. And I think
Yeah.
the offense is kind of the same.
I,
So,
I I am taking a little bit with a grain of salt just because they did play the Saints, who
mhm,
are kind of
terrible.
the laughing stock of the
Yeah.
league in terms of their whole situation. But I will say they have remained competitive in both
Yep.
games that they've played. But we will see as like we know Mac Jones' track record, like he's gonna have bad
He
games,
was
and
terrible with the
it
Patriots,
yeah
but
it
he was
does.
okay with replacing
He
T-Law last
was he
year for
was. It
fantasy.
just does make me think like in terms of those receivers, they don't really have a stud currently. Like,
Hmm. Hmm.
regardless of what you think about Pierce or Jennings, but it's just I don't think either of them can be like lineup locks on a weekly
No,
basis
I
with
don't think so
Mac.
either.
The only lock in my eyes is obviously CMC because, like you
Yeah,
said,
oh
he
yeah,
didn't skip
yeah.
a beat.
He
But
scored.
otherwise, like it is their options. I would say like Pierce, Jennings. But if it is someone that you have to compare against the other guys you have
Yep.
like week to week.
Yep. JJ McCarthy out 2 to 4 weeks with a high ankle sprain. That's brutal. Um,
And it is a weird
yeah,
one.
that's bad. That's
Be,
really bad. A high ankle sprain, yeah, maybe it's only 2 to 4, but this guy, we need him to get the reps. We need it. He missed all of last year, and he comes in this year. He needs to get reps. And week 1, it was saved by a couple touchdowns. Week 2
run
was
game,
awful.
especially.
It was awful against the Falcons defense. He
Yeah.
he hasn't thrown for 200 yards in a game yet. Now
Yep.
he's set to miss time. And then what happens when he comes back? He's going to have to get acclimated again. So this is bad for JJ. We'll see. I think Justin Jefferson at this point is quarterback proof.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
if anything, it seems like it could be an upgrade for Hawkinson.
Wentz is
So
the guy
Wentz is
now.
the guy. Yep.
Yeah. I also thought it was kind of weird that like there was no injuries or you couldn't really tell an injury happened during the game. And then right after they're like, he's out, he's gonna go on the
Yeah. Yeah,
IR.
that was
So
weird.
it kind of felt like the talk of like, I know there's rumors going around like they don't think he's ready. This is
Mhm.
a like kind of hiding that they don't really want to play him.
Maybe.
I don't think that's true, but like you said, it's not good. In a one
No.
QB league, I think we both agree that he's a drop,
Yep.
absolutely.
Yep.
Unless you want to stash him on your
No.
IR,
Drop
but
him.
I would drop
Drop
him.
him. Yeah.
And then in a two QB league, I'm in a situation where I have I have Kyler and Jordan Love, and
Yep.
I
In our
have,
league.
and
Yeah.
yeah, in our league, and I'm very much considering dropping JJ
Yeah.
altogether. Just because I don't think it's like he hasn't proven himself to be a
Nope.
starter anyways. So like, what's the point of holding him on your bench for 4+ weeks possibly?
Right.
So I think he's a drop in almost all leagues that unless you again you have your guys who truly believe in him that this offense will
Mhm.
take off. But yeah, I think we both agree he's
I'd
a
say
drop.
hold in dynasty. That's it.
Oh, dynasty for
Yeah.
sure, hold.
That's it.
But yeah,
Aaron Jones, just to stick with the Vikings, he's banged up. He's set to miss this week. Um, Jordan Mason,
yeah.
yeah, he becomes an RB2 immediately in my eyes. But yeah, this isn't good for the offense for Aaron Jones or JJ going down. This isn't good. I think we may see Mason really take over now, though, with Jones set to miss time.
Yeah, I think like when Mason was originally getting this hype in the offseason, I think this is, yeah, again, you never want to hope for injuries, but based on Aaron Jones' track record, this is kind of something that could have been predicted that the
Hmm.
guy's gonna miss a few games. And the fact that it's already starting out in week two, like you said, it
He's old.
immediately bumps
Yeah.
up Mason's value. He was already getting run with Aaron Jones. It was kind of a 1A, 1B.
And he was the 1A, Mason.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a good offense. Like, we'll see what Wentz brings, but it's going to change a bit. They're not going to be as aggressive as they might be with
Hmm.
McCarthy. So it might be more running the ball. It might be more work for Jettas. So I think it could, like you mentioned, be a benefit to some of these fantasy
I,
guys
I
where,
think there's a good chance actually we see the offense improve
yeah, no,
because I think it consolidates. Okay, Jordan Mason's the guy. Give him all the work,
you
and then Wentz, just get the ball to
make the
Justin
easy
Jefferson.
throws and
Yeah, and
Jefferson will
and
be
check it
open.
down to Mason if need
Yep,
be. He's not a
yep.
great pass catcher, but
He's capable.
yeah,
But yeah.
Hawkinson.
I
Yeah,
think we've seen it listed, even for example with the Niners, like Mac Jones threw for 3 touchdowns.
yeah,
No one
yeah,
expected that. So I
yeah,
think when you just consolidate things and just be like, let's just run a simple
yeah.
offense, it sometimes benefits
I
fantasy.
think too when you consider Wentz, dude. I mean, again, McCarthy threw for like under 160 both games.
Hmm.
So, I mean, that's all Wentz has to do to improve the offense.
And I think in a
So,
lot of scenarios, like backup quarterbacks just come in, they're like, fuck it. Like, let's
yeah,
just throw the
yeah,
ball. Like, I have
yeah,
nothing to lose. Like,
right.
so this is a chance. And like, so I think we could see a benefit. I
Yeah,
think it's something to watch.
yep, for sure. Um, Want to quickly touch upon Panthers and Cowboys offensive line injuries.
Mm.
Panthers, two starters. I think both their guards set to hit IR. That's brutal. I think for Chuba, for Bryce Young, I think just for the offense as a whole, I
Mm.
think that's brutal, and that's why I wanted to mention it. Two of their starters are set to hit IR. So it's like, conceptualize that for a sec. I think we have to downgrade that offense. Maybe not Tet because he'll still get the ball, but I think we have to downgrade the run game and, maybe even Bryce Young for the next few weeks.
Yeah, I agree. I think in Chuba's case specifically, like it showed that, or at least last week, that he wasn't really getting anything going. And I feel like his weeks, he had good weeks these past 2 weeks, but it was more based on like garbage time
Yep.
scores. And I think if like the O line goes down and we start to see him work with that new O line, probably
Yeah.
younger guys,
Probably not
signs
great.
are gonna kind of start to show that like you might not get the Chuba you saw the first 2 weeks.
Right.
Because yeah, the Panthers don't look good. I
No,
mean, they don't.
it's
Bryce
kind of
Young,
sad.
kind of a
I was
mess.
bullish on him too, and yeah.
But we can save that for the recap. But yeah, it's not a good sign for those
No.
guys. I think it also sucks because Javante in the Cowboys case has looked really good. I
Hmm.
think that won't change much. I think
Well,
he gets the
yeah,
volume.
so Cowboys O line, they lost Connor Beebe, their starting center for I believe it was 6 to 8 weeks.
Wow.
That's a tough blow.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, again, I think it doesn't change too much. Javante is the guy, but it's just something to keep in mind. If this offense just all of a sudden collapses,
You.
okay, we know why. So, yeah, just keep it in mind going into next week. It's something to watch for both teams.
You.
Justin Fields banged up, concussion protocol, awful game. We'll touch upon that, but yeah, not great. I think Fields is a hold for now because we saw the potential in week one,
Yeah.
but yeah, don't. don't be going out starting Fields right now. Hopefully you have another option for the time being.
I think like in terms of injury, you never like to see it, but concussion in football for the most
He should
part,
be
it
fine.
is like a I don't want to say best case scenario, but like you know what the structure of it is. Like they'll go through the protocol. If they don't play 1 week, they'll be back the next week, most
Yep.
likely. So you kind of know that like it's 1 week maybe, but
Yep.
yeah, like you said, we'll get into him, but
Yep. And Jaden Reed, 6 to 8 weeks.
yeah.
Uh, Brutal. But I think that opens the door for maybe Matthew Golden to step up because it consolidates the offense in a crowded receiver room. So
Yeah, as someone who watched that being a Packers, by the way, Packers are legit Super Bowl
they're
contenders.
very legit.
They're
We
gonna
will
be
touch
there.
upon them very
Yeah,
soon.
but I think it just he was never an easy start to begin with, even when
No. Yeah,
healthy.
yeah.
So we will start to see who opens the door for, but I just don't think you can be confident starting any Packers pass catchers besides Tucker Kraft. I
Yep.
think so.
I agree. Real quick, before we recap these games, just looking back to week one, how'd we do? Um, yeah, trade targets. I said to buy Burrow. Unfortunate. Injury. Hampton. Um, Lost carries to Najee Harris. Not great. Nico Collins. That offense doesn't look great. I think Nico should still be okay, but yeah, not great. Hawkinson. Also a bad buy. So my apologies to all you listeners. I went 0 for 4. Vinny, you had by Chase Brown.
Not looking
Sure.
good.
Swift, his snaps dropped significantly.
Did
Kyle
they?
Mononga went up. They gave him more carries. Swift should still be okay. AJ Brown, I have no idea what to think about him.
Yeah, he's frustrating right
Rice,
now.
I'll give you that. And Dak was definitely a hit. So 2 for 5.
Yeah.
So we'll work on it.
And
We're
then
unqualified for a reason.
exactly.
Sells, I said Daniel Jones, that's a whiff. Javante slash nobody. I'm glad I said slash nobody because Javante's legit.
Yep.
Keenan slash nobody.
He's
Again,
legit.
glad I
Maybe
said
not
slash nobody.
legit, but
Kincaid, I'm still okay selling. So I'll give myself a 1 for 4 on that.
yeah,
The sells, you said huge, he's legit. He scored again.
I think like with Keenan and QJ, like it still could be a good sell moment just because they're gonna have bad
They
games.
will.
Like Lad will have
That
his
seems
games.
feels real though.
No, they
That
are
feels
very good.
legit.
Like especially Herbert, which
Yeah,
like he's a
exactly.
stud.
Yeah,
Marvin Harrison, I feel really
you
good
hit.
about.
You hit.
I
1 for 2 on the
Yeah, I
cells.
feel good about that because he showed like exactly what we were talking about last week, that he's just a similar player to who he was last year.
Yep.
We haven't seen those advancements yet.
I agree. Our starts for quarterback, we had Burrow and Herb. Yeah, I'm
Burrow's
not gonna take the L on Burrow just because the injury.
yeah, he looked good,
Herbert, you hit
so
on that,
yeah,
so
he had a
that's a
good
good
game.
call. Running back Connor, I wouldn't say he hit, but he was fine.
Yeah,
He
he
was
did what he
fine.
normally
He
does.
produced enough. Who do you have at running back?
I can't give
CMC,
myself
yeah,
a hit on that. That was a
yeah.
gimme.
That's a good.
I this week I went a little bit. I dug a little bit deeper,
Yeah.
but I guess it hit. But like he should hit.
Wide receiver, we both missed. I had
Yeah,
Garrett Wilson, who Jets were just a down day, and then you had BTJ, and that
he's
that was
another
rough.
mess
Yeah.
right now, which we'll talk
Yep.
about. But
And then tight end, I had Strange who with. And then you had, let's see, Hawkinson with.
yeah,
So we got to improve the pass catching. I feel pretty good about mine heading into week 3.
okay,
So we'll
yeah.
get there. I said to sit Mahomes, and he actually produced.
He had a good.
You said to sit Daniel Jones, he produced.
He
This
was
was
very
weird.
good.
This was weird because they played
Tough
Philly and
matchups.
Denver, and they both produced. So
I think that's the beauty of early season of like we're basing this off of kind of last year.
a
Like the
little bit,
defense
a
is like
little
as
bit.
Denver was
Well,
pretty good
then
last
Denver, I think, is still a legit defense. I think Daniel Jones just might be legit.
It's tough to
We'll get
it's
there.
so tough to tell.
We'll
But
get
yeah,
there.
we will. But yeah, we
Um,
missed.
Running backs, Caleb Johnson, you hit.
That again seemed like a free
Pacheco was
here.
I hit on Pacheco big time.
I would say I hit on Caleb Johnson just because of the fact you see that kick return
Oh,
play
that was awful.
where he's
Dude,
like no
they
way
said
Mike
he's
Thompson
gonna lose
puts him
his
in the
duties.
game.
Yeah,
Yeah,
kick
so
returning.
that's a hit.
So we hit on it seems we're good at running back right now.
I think so.
That's what I'm seeing right here.
Running back's a little easier to
Wide receiver, you said sit DJ Moore. That was a hit. And then I said Keon Coleman, which I hit big on that one because he had a monster week 1 and then had 5.
yeah.
So
And
I'm
Josh
happy
Allen.
with that one.
Yeah.
Hopefully you sat him. And then tight ends. You said to sit Kelsey, he was
He
fine.
had like
So
10.
yeah,
So like for a tight end,
it
that's
was
pretty good
okay.
week.
I
So
said to sit Andrews and he whipped.
yeah.
So I hit on that.
Yep. So are there. There we
So
go.
hey,
The suits were
not
a
too
little
bad for
better.
week one. But all right, let's get into the recap. Let's go game by game. Starting with Thursday night, Packers Washington Commanders. You said it already that the Packers are legit, and
Yep.
I think we have to talk about this defense real quick. That defense is disgusting. They
Yep.
shut down the Lions, and people are like, "Oh, it's the Ben Johnson effect because he's not
Yep.
here." Well, no, they put up 52 this week.
On,
Okay,
on Ben Johnson.
yeah, on Ben
So,
Johnson. So I don't think I genuinely think it's the Packers. Jaden Daniels did not have a good game.
no,
200 yards, two touchdowns. A lot of that happened in the second half.
it
He had,
did.
I think, 3 points going into halftime.
He looked very uncomfortable too. Like
Yeah,
he was they didn't allow him to play the way he normally does.
right.
Like scramble,
Right.
make plays. Like there was nothing working.
Micah's also not even a full-time player yet.
No.
So this, I don't know who's even on this defense, but
Oh yeah.
this defense is disgusting.
No,
And
they're
let's just stay talking about the Packers real quick. Jordan Love looks very good.
hmm
I think he's going to have games like he had a good game for fantasy. I think he'll have that, but they're going to keep running. And I think Josh Jacobs, he had a great game. I think he's set up to have a great season.
And I feel like we haven't even seen like the ceiling of the Packers offense yet,
I agree.
just because the fact that they haven't been challenged. Like in both of these games against really good teams, they've been dominating until really the fourth quarter
Right.
where it's kind of garbage time and the team makes a slight comeback. But we haven't even seen like Jordan Love have to sling it
I
yet.
don't think
Like
they're going to have to with how good this defense has
they will
looked.
at some points. Like they
Who do they get this week?
um that's a good question. I should know this, but
Yeah,
um
Packers fan over here. Yeah, so they play the Browns. They should
yeah,
crush
Browns,
the
Browns.
Browns.
Yeah. So
If they lose
that's
that,
another
that's an
opportunity.
embarrassment.
I also think like it is start like when we consider matchups now, like you do have to kind of consider a matchup when playing the Packers defense, like in terms of players playing against them, like that affects.
We'll get. I think one of my starts is against the Packers. Yeah, it is. So we'll get to that.
Yeah,
But yeah, looking at the Packers schedule, it's light. This is just gonna be the offense moving forward, in my opinion.
Cowboys,
Yeah, Cowboys,
Bengals,
Bengals
Cardinals.
without Burrow, Cardinals, Steelers, Panthers. Like that's the next six. I think they're set up
For
to keep
leagues,
running this offense.
for leagues with defense, I think they're probably still available. In a lot of
Yeah.
leagues that I have with defense, they're available. I think they could be a priority waiver
Oh
wire
yeah, for
pickup
sure.
for these
For
next
sure.
few weeks.
Yeah, we haven't mentioned defense, but Packers
Yeah,
defense is legit.
yep.
So yeah, Tucker Kraft is the other name to talk about. That dude, 6 for 124 and a touchdown. I am glad I drafted him now over.
Yep.
I was talking about it earlier, how I wish I didn't wait on Njoku because it was between Njoku and Ingram for me in one league. And I was like, damn, like I waited and Njoku went, but then I was like, oh, I don't want Ingram because I have Sutton.
hmm
Well, both of them have been busts so far, and Kraft, who I ended up taking instead, has been better. So
Yeah, I think it's exactly what we talked about in our off-season episodes
yeah,
of like
the
we
upside.
made the comment of there's a legitimate shot that Tucker Kraft is the number one receiving option on the Packers, and that
He
seems
is.
very
He
much the
is.
case.
Yeah.
Obviously he's gonna have a few duds. That's just the tight end position in general,
Yep.
but like he's getting the volume. He's running downfield routes. These aren't just little. He's not a red zone target,
He's
just a red
he's
zone
he's a
target.
big rack guy too,
Yeah,
running
yeah.
up the
So
mesh.
he
So
could be this kind of next like version of a big time tight end
kind
that
of
we
feels like Kittle.
yeah, no, very
Yeah.
much so. So yeah, and I think the other thing to touch on with this game is, I mean, Josh Jacobs is just so consistent. You can almost count on a touchdown from him every week.
Yeah, almost.
Um, but he gets everything in that offense. But other than
But
that,
yeah, this is the Packers. We talked receivers already, so we'll move on to Commanders. Um, yeah, it's going to be Bill moving forward, but this was a bad game for the
yeah,
running
didn't
backs
get
as a
much of an
whole. I think
opportunity.
Ertz is legit. I mentioned him in the
You
offseason as a
did,
sleeper
yeah.
tight end. Is 6 for 64 and 1. I think that's possible. I think we still need to be patient with Terry. But I think Debo's also going to be big for this offense. Another good game out of him. So 2 straight weeks.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think there could be three viable options in this receiving core.
hmm
And without Eckler now, I do think it's possible that Bill becomes Brian Robinson and is purely touchdown dependent. And I think we're going to see more of a pass attack. So as long
hmm
as Jane Daniels is healthy, Ertz, McLaurin, and Debo, For now, be patient with Terry, but I
Mhm.
think those three could be something.
Yeah, no, I think you made a good point last week of like Debo fits this offense
He
really
does.
well. I was a little unsure and like watching this game, the full game, I did notice that like he's a rack guy as well,
Yep.
and Jaden like hits him in stride. And I think we when we talked about Terry with the touchdown regression, we obviously all knew it was coming, but they're just not hitting on those deep bombs that
Yeah.
they did. It seemed like they couldn't miss last year. So
Right.
of course that's going to happen, but they will hit on those eventually.
Yep.
And yeah, I would feel comfortable starting all three of those guys in a fantasy league right
I
now.
think so. I'm a little hesitant on Terry right now, but
I think he's just a guy that has a lot of
he
upside,
does.
especially with
He
like
does.
big plays, that you kind of have to start him over like compared to the options that I'm thinking of, like in a
Mhm.
wide receiver three or flex
I feel
spot.
better with him as a flex for right
Yeah,
now, though, than where you probably drafted him a little higher.
yeah.
Um, Game two of the week.
Is Jaguars Bengals.
Yep, Jags Bengals. So we already talked about Burrow. Jamar Chase, he's back. Don't worry about Chase. He's gonna be just fine. T. Higgins, we talked about downgrading a little bit.
Hmm.
And Chase Brown, he's still getting all the volume. So I guess that's the silver lining for him. Um,
Yeah,
but
the O-line looks really rough for the
it
Bengals.
is, it is. We knew it
Even
would be too.
before Burrow went down, like it was clear that that was going to be a problem and a worry.
Mhm.
But yeah, like you mentioned, Jamar, 16 targets. T. Higgins,
14 for 165 or
yeah.
one.
T. Higgins did get 8 targets on the day, but his day kind of got saved by a 40-yard touchdown. That
Touchdown.
was
Yep.
sort of like the DBs crashed into each other and he just
Yep.
strolled into the end zone. But yeah, I think he still is like a weekly start, but it's more that flex spot similar to
Mhm.
Terry, I think, is a
Yeah,
good
I
spot to
think
put
I'd
him.
agree. Yeah.
But I think this offense, like it showed they didn't really skip a beat. They were still slinging it, like we mentioned with Jake Browning. So there's still potential, and you should start the guys that you took early round with the hope of it being Burrow.
Yep.
But it does suck. It really does suck.
Yep. For the Jags, T-Law had a solid game.
He's
He's
just
still not fantasy
frustrating. He's
relevant.
just
I
frustrating.
think ETN could be actually pretty
Oh
good.
yeah, he
Tootin,
seems to be
Tootin
the
even had
guy.
a good game.
Yep.
So I think yeah, I think that running room is more clear without Bigsby now.
Yep.
In terms of receiving, Brian Thomas, man, it's bad right now. He caught 4 of 12 targets. And
And
then, you're looking at Travis Hunter didn't have a great game. He had to, I guess I heard the cornerback got hurt, so he had to play more defense in
mm,
this game. So
and
then
that's like the down. We knew that could be the case.
exactly.
To go back to Brian Thomas really quick, I think it goes beyond just like drops. Like there's a lot of clips of him just like giving up on
Yeah,
plays,
he looks
horrible body
yeah,
language,
he doesn't look in
being
a good
lazy,
place mentally right
yeah,
now.
not finishing routes, and
Yeah.
like it seems like Liam Cohen's like I mentioned in his press conferences last, like they're getting him the targets. They know that this guy's super talented and they
Mhm.
have to get him the ball. I just refuse to believe the narrative that like he's just better with Mac Jones than Trevor Lawrence. Like I know that's been the case and the stats back it up. It just makes no sense. Like,
I kind of believe it
well,
though.
you would have to believe it based on the stats, but
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It just like how is that the case? Like it's
Yeah.
so I still believe in Liam Cohen and like they will get him going. It
Yeah.
just he needs like some kind of big play. I think he was just living the easy life last year, getting everything.
Yeah.
Travis comes in, takes
Yeah, they're
target.
spreading the ball a lot here.
So
The other name real quick before we go to the next game, Diami Brown, 5 for 57 and
yeah.
one. He looks like he may be a stable piece of this offense. They brought him in over the offseason. I think he's worth a stash if you're in a deep enough league. That's all I'll say about that.
Yeah, Diami Brown and Bayshaw too. And if he's available, like
Tutin's
if
a
Tutin's
priority.
available,
Yeah.
yeah, priority for sure because he got work as like a receiving
Yeah.
back, but also was getting run
He
as the
scored, right?
yeah, he
Yeah, he
scored a
did.
receiving
Receiving.
touchdown.
Yeah. He
So
looked nice
yeah,
too.
so that
Yeah.
kind of seems like the
He
one
had
A, one
juice.
B. And the fact that they traded Tank Bigsby, that
They
it shows
they
the
yeah.
confidence in Tutin.
Yeah.
So
In both of these guys.
so that's a good sign for him and definitely like a priority ad, like you
Yep.
said.
Giants, Cowboys, game of the week, easily.
Yeah,
This
it was
was a
a good
shootout.
game.
Russ looked amazing. 450 yards. I I will say I do think that the Cowboys defense is just bad. And I think it's going to be one of those matchups we start to target.
It's interesting though,
So
because they like in a way shut down the Eagles. Like it, you know what I mean? Like I just don't know if that's how the Eagles play now, but the Eagles didn't look
Yeah,
good against them.
yeah.
So that's the weird part. Like they looked really good, then they
Well,
got shit
but the
on by the
Eagles also, we
Giants.
know this, they're just not a pass first offense.
That's
So
true.
when the
Now, yeah,
Giants became pass first, they torched them.
tore
So
them.
now every team is going to start doing
That
that.
could be the case. Yeah.
In terms of the running back room, Scadaboo's completely taken over Tracy. He scored 11 for 45 and a touchdown. Yeah, I think Scadaboo, just moving forward, he's promising.
Yeah, oh
So
yeah.
yeah.
He just runs angry. Like I
Oh,
think they're
he's a
reporting him for
beast.
like he's
Yeah.
just a broken tackle machine.
Oh my God.
And they like that. And so
I like that
he's
too.
yeah, it's perfect for a goal line guy that's just gonna
Yep.
power through you.
Yep.
He's obviously skilled in the receiving game too.
I
So
think they'll still use Tracy there though.
yeah, no, he could scalp a few touchdowns, but he does look very much like the guy. So if he's available for some reason, that's a priority at
Yep.
above Tootin in my mind. But
Yep. Yeah, I
um,
agree.
also a potential buy low, like
Yeah.
not buy low, sorry, just like buy in general.
Yeah. This
Yeah.
this would be the only time you can, I assume.
Yep.
They do have a tough schedule, but yeah, if he's still a guy, he's still a guy.
Yep.
Neighbors cooked. We said that. Wandale had a great game. That's the whole passing attack.
Yeah.
That's the entire passing attack. 23 targets went to those two guys.
Yeah.
So Wandale, waiver guy, pick him up.
hmm
But yeah, good to see
For
neighbors bounce back.
Yeah, I think it goes beyond like of course we neighbors first round fantasy pick, but it goes beyond that for me. Like he's shown that now he's a guy that like you can rely. Like you obviously you can rely on
Yep.
him, but like he's matchup proof. Like
He's
Russ
Matt.
will get him the
Yep.
ball. He's one of these divas that's gonna complain if he doesn't, then he'll just drop a 40-yard touchdown on your head to take the
Yep.
lead. So he's a guy that like you can put all your trust in is kind of everything we thought he'd
Yep.
be.
Yeah, the Cowboys are exactly what we thought they'd be. It's all come together now based on our predictions from the offseason.
Yep.
Dak looked great
Yeah.
again. Javante looks like the lead guy still.
Yep.
Yeah, CD, great game again. Pickens scored. Um, I still want to see more out of Pickens, but yeah, I think, a lot of it went to Jake Ferguson in this game.
Yep.
But so those three guys are your passing attack. We knew that going into the season. It's come to fruition. I'm very excited with this offense.
Yeah, so am I. It was nice to see Dak be able to sling the ball around a little
Yep.
bit as he wasn't really able to in the first week. And we see what it's capable of, like we
Yep.
kind of talk about with these big games. So Dak only had 2 touchdowns. We're gonna say if they start opening the
And it
offense
was a
like
good
they did,
fantasy week.
like yeah, we're gonna see monster weeks from him. So
Yep.
CD's kind of had like some in his terms, like mid weeks, like, but this guy still put up 20
Yeah,
points, like
yeah,
without
he's
scoring a
still
touchdown.
cooking.
So I
Both.
also to quickly mention Cavante Turpin could be
Nah,
like, I think he could be somewhat of an ad. They use
nah.
him in a lot of different areas, like rushing the ball, he's on special teams and he's receiving. If in a deeper league, I think
Turpin played 16% of snaps. So he's not gonna
he's
be caught.
efficient with his
He caught
targets.
all four of his targets. He
In a
only had
deeper league, I think it could be, but yeah, I guess in a 10-12,
Yeah, no,
not worthy
you're
of
not pick up
mentioning.
Turpin. He would be like a pick up and sell.
We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, no.
All right, another
Bears,
big
Lions,
game.
blowout. As for the Bears, yep, they are bad, just like I predicted. Yeah, Swift ended up splitting carries a little more. That's something to keep an eye on, but he still scored the touchdown. Rome Odunze, fully the wide receiver one over there. That's the story of this game.
Mhm.
Yep, I'm in. I'm very in on Rome.
I
Buy high.
I almost like it seems like you're going to disagree with this, but I almost want to start like the dialogue of like, is this like his ceiling? Like, because like this thing about it, they still have DJ Moore and Luther Burden, Cole Kmet. It's still a crowded room. Like he's gonna have down weeks.
He'll have
Like,
some down weeks,
but is
but
this the
he's had
time?
all the receiving touchdowns for
Oh
this
yeah, no,
offense so
he's
far.
been a stud to start. But my question is like, is this a time to like capitalize on the like monster week he just had and like tier up to a consistent monster week beyond
Maybe.
if you can.
Here's my take though. I see him as a year-long wide receiver two at minimum. So that's how I feel about Odunze. I think it's just he's the clear go-to for Caleb.
Oh yeah.
scoring touchdowns. So I think you just put that all together. He's a wide receiver one for an up and coming
Yeah,
offense.
I don't think he's a sell by any means, like a sell high,
Just
but
see what you could get for
yeah, like
him.
you can
Yeah.
tier up to a
Shop him
top 10
around.
guy, like
Yeah.
if throwing in one more piece, like
Neighbors.
yeah, like if that's what like
Yeah.
you never know what people are gonna judge. Like right now, Odunze has a bunch of
I
hype. So
agree.
like if
I
you
agree.
can, like never just settle for like, oh, he's gonna be a stud. Like he's
Yep.
gonna have a few duds just because of how crowded that room is. But
Yep.
stud, yeah.
Goff, number one QB on the week in a blowout, 5 touchdowns. Gibbs looks good. Monty got some carries.
They're
Here, let me
both
pull
very
up.
efficient. 11 for 57 for Monty, 12
Yeah,
for 94.
Monty's going to be touchdown dependent all
Oh
year long.
yeah,
He
for
he had
sure.
39% of snaps again. Yeah, he'll get carries, but that's it.
Yeah,
I think it's very clear that Gibbs is the primary. It's the 1A, 1B, it feels.
absolutely.
Amon-Ra, great game. 9 for 115 and 3.
Monster.
Um, Laporta had a down week. I wouldn't worry about it too much. And Jameson Williams, 2 for 108 and 1. He is the epitome of boom bust.
Yeah. Yeah.
The
No, definitely like only 4 targets in a game where they scored 52
yeah.
points. Like it was just kind of big
If you look
score
at the
after big
target spread
score.
though, it's like Amon-Ra had 11, and the next receiving option, we're gonna ignore Gibbs for a second. The next receiving option was Jameson Williams, who had 4, and Laporta
Yeah.
also had 4. So it wasn't like it was just all going Amon-Ra for this game.
I think the major takeaway for the Lions is that like they're
They're
like
still
they
good.
didn't skip a beat
Yeah.
without missing Ben Johnson. They're still
Yep.
capable of 50 bombs and like Jared Goff throwing 5 touchdowns. So
Yep.
like that's a good sign.
Yep.
And
Great
if
sign.
Jared Goff is available on waivers, I think you can trust him almost as a weekly starter in a lot of
Yeah,
cases.
the Burrow owner in one of my leagues had Goff,
Yep.
so I think he's in a solid spot.
Yeah. And he is probably available on waivers for a lot of leagues. So
Yeah, Rams Titans, kind of a boring game. This one will probably be pretty quick. People are worried that because Corum stole a touchdown from Kyron. I'm really not worried about Kyron. He's still on the field the majority. He's still getting the carries. I'm
yeah,
not too worried. Puka looked great
monster.
again. Devontae Adams looked great.
Yep. I think
Yeah,
that's going to be the
that's
case
the
that
offense.
they both are capable of putting up big games and like the one that catches the touchdown is going to benefit the most.
Yep.
But it seems like those two, yeah, it's the offense like you mentioned. But Puka, I mean, scored a rushing touchdown. I don't know if like
Yeah.
yeah, I'm sure you saw it,
He's the
but
number one receiver through two
he's
weeks.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
So stud,
Yeah.
worthy of a
Yeah.
first round pick.
I I think it's close to the point where we can say I was wrong about Devontae. But there was that week one that wasn't good. So I want to give it at least one more week before we can say, hey, this guy is legit. I'm not certain that it's going to be an every week thing for him like it will be for Puka.
Yeah, I think there will be weeks where he has like 11 points on like 6 receptions for 55 yards and he just doesn't
Yeah.
get that touchdown.
Yep.
So it doesn't look great. But I think in terms of the offense, like Puka's the guy that you can
Yeah.
count on putting
Puka's
up
gonna be
15 plus every week. He's
this
just,
helps Puka, honestly.
yeah.
You have to cover two
Yeah.
guys.
So I think also it boosts Stafford a little bit where like he has 2 studs that he can rely on.
Yep. The
But
Titans, Cam Ward, crazy touchdown. You see that one? That
yeah,
was
it
nice.
was he broke every rule in football. You never
Yeah.
throw a cry, and
Never
it
throw
somehow
back.
worked out.
Yeah.
But
Pollard's still getting all the work, but it's not really turning into much. So there's just no excitement there.
mhm.
Ridley might not even be the one. It might be Alec Ioman or
Yeah,
he scored that touchdown on that cross the body, cross the field
yeah.
throw. And I think Chig is okay.
I think it
Nothing
was
great, but
kind of what I mentioned last week, where like that Jaden Daniels hype of the season he produced for Terry McLaurin,
yeah,
and everyone's like attached this rookie QB to a
to Calvin Ridley.
mid kind of receiver that's in a middling point in their career. And we all thought that would be Calvin Ridley. It makes sense, the logic, but I just don't think Cam Ward's at a point right now where he can support like a stud wide receiver, elevate a receiver, if that makes
The
sense.
difference is that Io Manor's there, and that's why.
Yeah.
Because
Yep.
you can't support two as a rookie. Like it's very rare to. So it's going to be one or the other, and it looks like it could be Io Manor. Right now, they just haven't figured it out yet.
Yeah. But Calvin Ridley is a frustrating one because you did kind of reach in drafts
Yeah,
to kind of bet on that
bet on it.
upside,
Yeah,
and it's not paying off right now. So it's frustrating.
yeah.
But
We'll see.
you definitely hold
They've
them
had two
for
tough
now.
defenses to play against so far too. So we'll see as time goes on.
Yeah, definitely. but he's a hold.
for sure.
Definitely don't drop him.
For
But
sure, for sure.
even though it might be frustrating,
Yep.
Pats
Patriots,
stuff.
Dolphins. Oh
I'll let
man,
you
that
get
that was
this one
so
going.
frustrating, dude. There was just so much going on. Like Drake May looked great. He looked unreal. That was promising. Ramondre looked good.
Hmm.
So honestly, it worries me a little bit for Travion. I think we might have to wait a little bit
Yeah,
longer because Travion was committing some penalties that, they Mike Vrabel didn't want him on the field because of that.
yeah,
So it's the rookie, like, hey, learn from your mistakes, come off the field. Antonio Gibson had more carries than him. So that sucked. Ramondre led the receiving core.
yeah. I
Yeah, in terms of receiving, it's wide open. I think it's going to be Diggs eventually, but he was on the field, I think, under 40% of snaps again, or under 50. Yeah, he was on the field for 52% of snaps. Mac Hollins is going to be on the field a lot. This is always how he's been, but he's never been a guy to be fantasy relevant.
commands
So
targets. Yeah,
Booty caught a touchdown. He was on the field a lot. But he only had the one target, so he's going to be very volatile, but I think he's worth rostering.
yeah.
That's yeah, and just hold Travion for right now. Ramondre is definitely flexible too.
Yeah, I had a couple takeaways, and I think one is that the Dolphins defense is
Terrible.
terrible.
That
And
team
like
is
this,
terrible.
and honestly, like Drake May did look good, but they should have taken advantage more of
Yeah,
like this should have been an easy win for the Pats. But I think Travion, I don't know if you saw the quote from Vrabel after the game. There was Ramondre caught that like 55-yard
it was
bomb.
supposed to be his.
And he
It
said like
was
that was the
drawn up
play
for
we drew
Travion.
drop for
Yep,
Travion, but because of like the early struggle, the
yep,
penalties, like it wasn't him. So I think it's a good sign that like they have game plans in
yep.
mind for him. And like you said, it just might be a longer wait than we kind of anticipated.
Yeah.
But
Well, this is a great point. I think I want to mention all rookie running backs are off to a slow start.
yeah,
I saw I think, what was the stat? 19 running backs have 100 plus yards so far this season. None of them are rookies. So Genty hasn't had 100.
yeah.
Hampton hasn't hit that. Harvey, Scadaboo. So all these rookie running backs where we've been very high on have had a very slow start. So I
Yep.
think we just need patience. And Travion's one of those where I think he'll look like one of the better rookie running backs end of season.
And that's the risk you take with like, and that's like, I hope when we've outlined in the offseason, you take that with that knowledge in mind that like this guy isn't going to be a key playmaker for
Yeah.
me through like maybe 6+ weeks,
Yeah.
which is tough,
This is always how it is with the rookie running
but it's
backs.
kind of that secret gem on your bench that an injury happens, offense start to utilize the guy that they spent high capital on, which they will. Like they are not just going to not use
Yep.
the talent that they
Yep.
invested in. So at some point it will pay off, but yeah, right now you just have to wait.
Yep. Two is trash. Um,
Yeah, yeah, he's
Devon Achane looks great, simply because of the receiving game.
yeah, yep, eight
Tyreek had a
receptions.
solid game. Waddle had a solid game. I'm still not in on this offense. I mean, this is not a good Patriots defense. I thought it would be better than what it has been. No Christian Gonzalez. So you're playing against very bad cornerbacks, and
Yep.
they produced, but the lines were okay. So I'm kind of out on the Dolphins as a whole because it's been very disappointing 2 weeks in, except for Achane. I think Achane's going to be unreal.
Yeah, Achan's a beast. Like you said, it was an opportunity for both offenses to put up big numbers,
Yeah.
and most of it was through special teams. There was
Yeah.
two
Yeah. The back to
back-to-back,
back punt return,
yeah,
kick
punt
return,
return.
touchdown.
And so like there really weren't many points put up. The score was 33-27, but if you take away like special
Yeah.
teams, it wasn't a great offensive
Yep.
week. Big plays, but yeah, I don't buy into the offense really either besides HN. I think Tyreek and Jalen are gonna have
Tyreek could be a
games like
sell.
that. I think both of them could be. Like
I think so too. Yeah.
and then but I think it does show that like they're capable of these bigger weeks
It's
still.
possible. We've
Like
seen it in the
Tua can
past.
still make it happen, but he's just impossible to trust as a starter at all.
Yeah.
I did start him in a week in a 2 QB league this
Yeah.
week, but it wasn't like a good feeling.
Yeah. No.
So
I think their
yeah.
coach is going to get fired too
And I think
halfway
that
through the
could
season.
help in a
It
lot of
could.
ways
It could.
because he's trying to run the same stuff that everyone has figured out already,
Yeah, exactly.
and it's just not
He
working.
was a genius for a little bit.
Yeah.
Those days are over.
Yep. So
Niners, Saints. This will be a quick one, I'm sure. Mac Jones looked good.
Yeah, he did.
McCaffrey, still McCaffrey. Juwan Jennings was the beneficiary. I already mentioned this. And I think Pearsall's still going to be okay. He only
Yep.
had 9 points, but I think he's still going to be okay.
Yep.
So that's the offense.
I
Anything else to add?
I think when backup quarterbacks come in, you just want to see like how they run the offense, and they did.
Some
Mac Jones
continuity.
still
Yeah.
threw the ball a lot, so it's not
Yep.
like they just hammered it all like C-Mac. Here's 25 carries,
Yep.
like go help us win. They
Yep.
still threw the ball. Also, Rattlers looked okay. He looks like he can
Rattler, yeah,
keep the
three
team
touchdowns.
in games, which is like as a Kamara owner,
Kamara's going to
like
be
that's
great.
important.
Kamara's
The
going to be
team
great.
needs
We
to
know
be
he's
in
in the
the
league.
game though, like because at some point,
Yeah.
like Kamara's an older guy, they're not going to send him out there in a 50-point
How do you
blowout.
do receiving wise? Because
Um,
he had 21 carries for 99
he
yards,
had 6 receptions,
six for
so
21.
that's like
That's
where he
nice
makes
in
his money.
PPR.
That's where he
Yeah.
makes his money in fantasy. So
Um, yeah, Olave seems like he's going to be okay. Rashid Shaheed, even, I think he's going to be boom bust. I think Juwan Johnson's legit,
he
though.
is. I
I think
agree.
he's legit. He had, I think,
Back-to-back week.
yeah,
Last week he had
yeah,
like 12
I think he's
something
the number
targets.
two in tight ends across 2 weeks.
That would make
So,
sense.
yeah, I mean, yeah, he had 9 targets. I think he had 13 last week,
Yeah,
something like
something.
that.
Yep.
Like he is the focal point of this passing game. So,
Yep.
Juwan, if he's not owned, please pick him up.
Absolutely.
Priority,
Yeah.
priority.
Yep. Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, Juwan, actually, there was a trade in one of my leagues today. Some guy owned Chase Brown and Hampton as his two running backs and was worried. So he was hitting me up about it. But then he ended up trading. This was the whole trade. Chase Brown, he traded Juwan Johnson as his backup tight end. So Chase Brown, Juwan Johnson,
Okay.
and Nick Chubb to get Achan and Thielen and Mark Andrews, who I was like, all right, dude, you lost that trade, even
I
to get Achan. But yeah, the guy who picked up Juwan Johnson is slotting him in as a starter. He's slotting in even Chubb as a starter and Chase Brown. So I think, Juwan Johnson, I think is the most underrated piece in that trade.
Yeah,
So,
it's tough to say. Like, I feel like getting a redraft, getting the best player in the trade is always a win. Like, he got Achan, but we'll see
mhm.
how like Chase Brown bounces back.
Yeah.
All right.
Bills, Jets, blowout. Josh was not good, but he also had his broken nose.
Yeah, he did go down.
James Cook, yeah, we said he's touchdown dependent, and
He's a stud.
he's a beast. 21 for 132 and two. Love to see it. The passing game just they didn't need it, and I think we're gonna see this with the Bills sometime.
Hmm.
Um, in a blowout like this, they're just gonna go run heavy. Even Ray Davis got 9 carries. Didn't look pretty, but he still got the carries.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think the Bills are just gonna have these kind of games where Josh is gonna have a down week and the entire passing game is gonna have a down week, and James Cook's just gonna run all over the defense.
Yeah, Josh Allen's shown this to be the case too.
Yep.
Like he's had these QB one and two the past like 7 years, whatever we talked about.
Yep.
But like last year as an owner, there would be weeks where he just had like 9 points because the team was just destroying everyone and James Cook had all the scores. So,
Yep.
but he makes up with it with these 40-point weeks like he had week one. So like don't be worried about Josh Allen at all. He's a stud.
Yep.
He's shown in the past that these weeks happen. So yeah.
The Jets, yeah, a lot of red flags I think are going up, but at the same time, I don't want to hit the panic button just yet. Maybe the Steelers defense is bad. Maybe it really is bad, which is kind of a shocker. But yeah, I think Breece Hall is still the guy in the backfield. We saw that again. So I think
Mhm.
that's something to keep in mind. And Garrett Wilson is still going to be the guy in the receiving game.
Yeah.
Um, they can't support more than that.
Yeah.
So
I think like I hated a lot on Justin Fields over the offseason. And this is the primary reason. He just I don't think he's a consistent player. Like
no,
he's gonna
he's
have big
super
weeks
inconsistent.
like he
Yeah.
showed last week, but
And then he's going to go 3 for 11 with
yeah,
27
yeah,
yards.
exactly.
So
So I think it's just like the rushing upside's
he's good
there,
on the ground. Yeah, I mean,
but
49 yards
no,
rushing.
yeah, it's great,
Great.
but it's just
That's
he's
it.
he has if they get blown out like this consistently, this is a reason why he's jumped around to different teams. Like he's not a winner.
Correct.
So that's the problem with him. But you
Yeah.
still hold him, like you mentioned earlier, with his injury.
I,
But
I would just expect a lot of volatility for this offense, and they may all be matchup dependent, I
mhm.
think. Steelers, Seahawks. Caleb Johnson basically blew the game by not catching a kickoff and then letting it go into the end zone for the defense to just pick up as a touchdown.
Yeah,
Anyways, Seahawks running back room. It still was Charbonnet leading in carries, but he took 15 for 10 yards. That's horrible.
Yeah.
And then Ken Walker, on the other hand, said, "All right, give me 13 carries. I'm going to go for 105 and a touchdown." So we
Yep.
may see the flip again. I think we're just going to see a split backfield all year,
Yeah.
unless we see in week 3 that it changes drastically and they're like, "Oh, nope, Ken's back. He's the guy."
It's impossible to like now that Ken Walker had this week, it's impossible to just have full trust in him because this was the case last week for Ken Walker and Charbonnet
Yeah,
was the
yeah, yeah.
beneficiary.
Charbonnet was actually
Um,
really good running
yeah,
last week.
yeah.
So
So like next week it's gonna be the same thing. They're
yeah.
gonna get equal carries. It's just about who scores the touchdown, who has the big
And
run.
I bet you the Steelers plan for Charbonnet. So
Yep, yep.
JSN is still eating everything. He's in my opinion, locked in wide receiver one rest
I
of the season.
agree. I agree.
Up, bounce back. Yeah, keep an eye on him. I think, people were saying maybe drop him last week. I hope we didn't. Was he on our drops last week?
I don't think so.
No, he was not. Thank
No.
goodness. But yeah, because I think he's worth holding on the bench. So
Yep.
yeah, we'll see. I think Cup's the number 2 in this offense, and then Torrey Horton,
Scores a
deep
touchdown.
deep name to throw on the bench. In terms of the Steelers, Caleb Johnson, brutal. Jalen Warren looks legit. He had a good game. He outpaced Kenny Gainwell even more this week.
Yep.
So yeah, I think Jalen Warren so far pretty good. 4 for 86 receiving. I didn't even know he had
Yeah.
that. But we
I
know he can catch passes. So
Oh yeah, he's that's kind of his primary job, or it has been his primary job in the past.
yep.
Yeah, I think he's honestly had an underrated couple weeks. Like
Oh yeah.
I'll hint that like he's my running back buy for this week.
Yeah, he's top
Just
20 over the
because like
each of the last 2 weeks.
he's put up points and I don't think he's scored a touchdown yet. He's just
I don't
maybe
know.
last week he did, but he didn't score one this week,
Yeah.
and he had 16 points. Like it's just
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
he just kind of quietly has put up really good games, and if the scores start to come, as he seems to be the primary guy, he could be like a sneaky league winner. Of like
Yeah.
you
Oh
drafted
yeah.
this guy late in
I think his
rounds, it's
floor
Caleb
is going to be
Johnson.
very high, very, very high.
Yeah.
He's going to be one of those, he's going to be the Jacoby Myers of running backs,
Ooh,
where you
okay.
don't like the name, but you can slot him in every single week and get a great
Yeah,
production.
I think
So,
could compare. I didn't expect that comparison, but
yeah,
it's a good.
yeah, yeah.
How do you feel about DK?
I don't like it, man. I just hate Arthur Smith. I still think he's the guy, and I think we just need to give it time. The Seahawks have a great secondary and a great defense. So I'm not surprised that they came out and they had a tough game and Rodgers had a tough game. DK still led the team in targets, although it was very evenly split. He was saved by a touchdown though. So I'm willing to give it time. It's still a new offense for him. It's a new offense for Rodgers.
Yeah, I think just knowing Aaron
But
Rodgers, being a Packers fan, yeah, I watching some of this game, it was very clear like Rodgers, once he gets his guy, you're his guy.
yeah,
But it doesn't seem like DK is his guy yet, if
yeah,
that makes sense. So
yeah.
like once he doesn't have a guy, he'll spread it, he'll throw it to anyone until they prove they can be a guy.
Yep.
He's very big on that. But I did see like one play that I saw where it just kind of looked like the vintage Rodgers, Devontae Adams at the goal line,
The
where they just kind of
touchdown?
throw that fade ball.
Was it the
Yeah, the
touchdown?
touchdown to
Yeah.
DK where like he
Yeah,
just
he just needs
knows
to
you're bigger,
yeah.
stronger, and like I'm gonna give you a shot.
Yep.
So that was a good sign, but like otherwise, I just think DK needs to become that guy and
Yeah.
gain Aaron Rodgers' trust.
I agree.
Which when he does, I think we'll see the benefits.
Yeah. I can agree with
But
that.
Rodgers
Who
looked
do,
good
who,
again.
who do they get next week? I'm wondering. Do we know based on here? Here, I'm gonna find that while you pull up the
Okay.
next game. But yeah, I think I hope it's a good matchup because he's played 2 tough corners so far. Metcalf, I'm talking about. Oh, he gets the Pats. This is the week
That's
where
a
we
good
find
week.
this is the week we find actually Gonzo might be back. But if Gonzo's still out, this is the week we find out if Metcalf can actually be that guy or
Yeah.
not.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, Browns Ravens. Ravens look legit, man. But yeah, Browns. The big storyline for me was Quinshon Judkins. So he had the most carries, 10 for 61 yards. So he produced with
Yep.
his carries. He also had a couple catches. And then I was like, huh,
Three for 10.
I
Yeah.
wonder how much how many snaps he got. 27%.
Yeah. No, and I
This
think
is
that was the plan
this,
though.
but this tells me everything I need to know about what they want to do is they don't trust Ford and they definitely don't trust Sampson as a runner. And it just tells me this is going to be Judkins' backfield, and he did all this on 27% of snaps.
Yeah.
So I am very in on Judkins rest of season.
Yeah, as a Judkins owner in a dynasty league, which is different, but like I was very encouraged,
Oh yeah,
and I totally agree. I
it's
think in
huge.
terms of Judkins and Sampson, we can see like that Chubb Kareem Hunt type of duo, where like Judkins
Possibly.
is the guy on the ground and
Yep.
Kareem, or sorry,
Samson's
Sampson,
gonna
it's like
catch
the
all the
Kareem
work.
role where like
Yeah.
he'll get his carries, not a lot. He won't probably cross 10 most games.
I don't think they're ever gonna give him. Dude, he's been so inefficient.
Yeah,
So I think it's gonna be more like it might be more of like, you have the early down guy in Judkins, goal line guy in Judkins, and
yep.
then the receiving work. But we saw, I think they tied in terms of
Points.
receptions.
Oh yeah.
So
But
what was
Sampson
it?
caught the touchdown. Yeah, they both
He
set
did, but
three.
yeah, they both had three receptions on three targets. So that to me tells me maybe Dylan Sampson's just a backup. It might even be just Judkins is a three down workhorse.
It's
So
very
the
possible.
upside for Judkins is there. Judy, meh. Fannin, again, solid week. And Njoku's even still was okay. Tillman caught another touchdown, but yeah, I think the offense looked the same as from last week. I
Hmm.
think Judkins was the storyline though.
Yeah, Judkins is a
Ravens,
beast.
Lamar, good. Down week for Derrick Henry. Don't worry about him. That's how I feel about it.
Yeah, you
Um,
can.
yeah, I do want to see his snap share. No,
Zay
he was still getting it.
Zay
I'm not worried.
Flowers has looked good two straight
Zay's a
weeks.
top five through 2 weeks.
He's
So
he's
he's
clearly
legit.
Lamar's guy. DeAndre Hopkins has kind of stolen two touchdowns from him, or not from him specifically,
Yeah.
but like he's just catching these
Whoa,
bombs.
Tez Walker, two receptions on two targets, two touchdowns.
And I feel
Um,
like that's how the Ravens have worked. Like they
yeah,
could never under Lamar still develop like a true number one. That's just a
it's Flowers
stud.
though.
Well, it is, but you know what
Well,
I mean in
for two
terms of
weeks though.
like a red zone guy,
Yeah,
all over the field
yeah.
guy. Like it feels like every quarterback in the league has a guy like
It
that, but
used to be
except
Andrews,
yeah,
and
yeah,
now I think it's completely Zay. Mark Andrews, what do you have? Three targets, one catch for 2 yards. Yeah. Uh, Rip.
yeah.
Mark Andrews is done. I called it last week, but he's
Yeah,
done.
I think like you mentioned last week, likely is still a name to monitor.
Yeah,
He
he
didn't
didn't
play
even
this
play.
week, but
So,
like he's going to be the guy that they probably bring back next year over Mark
oh,
Andrews, and
100%.
he's going to be the starting tight end. So they're going to
100%.
include him in the offense like they did last year, and he's an
Yep.
option to kind of monitor.
And when I talked about Andrews in the offseason, you can pull up the next game.
Yep.
But when I talked about Andrews in the offseason, big thing for me was that his snap share was down and everything, and his targets were down. Everything was just down for him. Well, actually, he's played 80% of snaps in the last 2 weeks and
Hmm.
still can't produce. So I'm it's over.
Yeah,
So
it sucks, but yeah, I agree.
Colts Broncos. Colts came away with the win in a game they probably shouldn't have.
Yeah,
But yeah,
wild
Bo
ending.
Nix bounced back. I think he's gonna be fine. I'm not like super excited about having him on my roster the rest of the season, but fine. Dobbins still the guy, so we're gonna have to wait on Harvey. Um, Sutton had a really bad game. He was 1 for 4,
Yeah.
and he had 6 yards. But I did hear that I didn't watch this game, but I did hear he had more targets that were called back based on penalty. So I'm not
Okay.
super worried, and I think the Colts defense and everything has been a little better than we think. And they had a plan for Sutton clearly. Troy Franklin, though, he is the next man up. He is the number two over Mims, who we both liked in the
Yeah, we
offseason.
did.
Troy
Who
Franklin's a
did catch a
priority
touchdown,
pickup, in
but
my opinion.
yeah,
So,
I'd agree. That's been Bo Nix's guy since college. Both went to
yep,
Oregon.
exactly.
So that connection's there. But yeah, no, I mean the targets are there. He's being productive with them. Caught 8 of 9 targets.
Yep.
Scored a touchdown. So yeah, definitely named to monitor in this week's waiver cycle. But yeah, RJ Harvey, it's tough. But like we mentioned, like
Wait.
wait, it's
Yeah.
fine. I did see him being used as like a decoy in a lot of ways of like the other team's defense very much respect his receiving ability and
Oh,
it
for
opens
sure.
up plays that create other guys open. So he'll be on the field. He'll be used in certain spots, but I think there will be a point where like we unleash him. They unleash him.
Yeah, and lastly, Ingram's another disappointment.
Yeah.
1 for 12.
Yep. Yep. But like that's
Uh,
just the tight end position. Like
yep.
he's gonna have big weeks, but
Well, not really. We'll get to that in a bit. Colts, Daniel Jones looked really good again, and a
yep.
rushing touchdown again.
Yep.
Um, this offense looks good with Jones,
It
and
does.
I think Jones actually looks like he could be worth owning rest of the season.
I
I don't
agree.
think I'd want him as my only QB, but
No.
yeah, Jonathan Taylor looks great too. So this is just showing how good the offense has been with Jones as an upgrade. Yeah, at this pace, Richardson's done. He's done.
Yeah,
It sucks,
I
but
think it's a situation where they probably trade him, like
yeah,
it
I think
because
so
there's no
too.
point in having a project that
Hey,
they're not
Saints,
willing to commit to.
Saints,
Yeah, yeah, you never know.
ring ring. I'd
Um,
call him up if I were the Saints.
but
Warren looked good again.
you know,
Downs had a little bit of a bounce back, but I think Pittman, even although he had 4 for 40, I think Pittman might be season long, like pretty solid. So
yeah, no, I think he's a reliable target for a guy like Daniel Jones. Him and Tyler Warren kind of seem
yeah,
like
it's those two.
Downs did have a better game than last week, so I think it shows like it's kind of going to be one of those offense where like similar to the Packers where you never
Mhm.
know. You can't feel comfortable starting any one of
Yeah,
them really besides
Pittman and
Warren.
Pierce are on for two tight end sets though.
Yeah,
Downs is only in there when they're running three or sorry, not tight end, wide receiver sets.
yeah, but
So
for me, the big winner was Jonathan Taylor. I mean,
yep,
his involvement in the passing
the
game last
passing
week,
game
he had
too.
three
Yeah,
receptions this week too, and he scored a touchdown.
yeah, on 50
Like
yards.
this is
So
gonna could be a monster season
yeah,
for him. It
absolutely.
will be like hope bearing any injuries,
Yep.
but the dude's a monster.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's see. I believe
We're in these 4 o'clock games finally.
it was
Cardinals,
Panther.
Panthers.
Yeah,
Yeah, ugly game. Panthers just don't look good. They had a small little comeback. Actually, Bryce had a good fantasy day.
he did.
Nothing special, but Chuba was kind of meh. 10 for 38. Rico
It
had
was
6 for
garbage time,
9.
like I
And
mentioned.
then Chuba, he scored in the receiving game. That's why his day was saved. But then like Leggett, I think he had 1 of 8 targets.
He's
That was
close to
sad.
done.
Yeah, I think so too. Ted's going to be very solid.
Yeah,
6 for 100. I think he's a very stable floor guy all season long. Renfro looked good out the slot.
he
7 for
did.
48, 2 touchdowns. And then Jatavion Sanders, 7 for 54. He's a guy, if you need tight end, I'm willing to take a
Oh
shot
yeah,
on him.
monitor him. I think he's worth a pickup, honestly. 9 targets. The Panthers seem like they're going to be playing down a lot, so like
Yep.
those receivers get a
Yeah, the
boost.
passing work.
Um,
It's clear though, too. I mean, looking at the running back room. So,
yo,
and with those O-line issues we talked about. So,
yo,
yeah, I think passing game up, running game down.
yeah.
Yeah,
Card,
Cardinals, Kyler, very mid against a pretty bad defense.
yeah.
Connor, he was fine. He had the work. He had 11 carries to Benson's 3. He also had the touchdown. But they are splitting snaps still.
Benson saw a lot more work in the receiving
Yeah,
game. Four
he
for
will
30.
continue to do so. Although James Conner is also very capable.
He is. Yep.
Yeah, the offense still runs through Trey McBride. I think that is very important to note. It has not changed at all since last year. Marv had a bad week, and this is exactly what it was last year. I think we can expect more up and down from Marv all season long.
I think that's like a good and bad statement for Trey McBride just because of the fact that it doesn't seem he's gonna get in the end zone much at all this year. It's just it seems like the same
Yeah,
exact offense.
it
Like
is.
Marvin got 5 targets,
The running
didn't
back
do
room is shifting a little bit, but yeah, it does
it,
seem the
it's
same
it's
otherwise.
just like Trey McBride will be a beast. Like you're
PPR,
happy that you
maybe.
spent that pick on him,
Yep.
early pick, but like the hope was like these touchdowns start to go up, and it just
Yeah,
right now it's
he scored 12 week 1, 13 this week. And, having him on one of my teams, my main leagues, like I'm very happy with
oh
that
yeah, you're
because if a touchdown does hit, that's a 20 bomb.
oh it is, but
So
like you
he's
want.
that positional
But
advantage
it's still,
regardless.
it's no, for sure. But it's still just like you thought it would be a for sure, like, oh, touchdowns are gonna have to hit. It doesn't just, it just seems like it's not
They're
gonna
still
be the
going to
case.
utilize Connor as long as he's there
Yeah.
at the goal
So
line.
that's just, but Marvin Harrison is just
Boom, bust.
another mess right now. I don't even know if we could say
Bust.
that because it
I think
like
so.
last week was that a boom? Was
Yeah.
that it was like 15
He had like
points.
18, I think.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know what
It's a
he
boom,
is.
but disappointing boom. Eagles, Chiefs. Mahomes actually looked solid.
The rushing game is
Yeah,
just like,
that's what I'm saying. Like he's 7 for 66 and a touchdown. If he keeps that up, like he's gonna be very good for fantasy. Pacheco sucked. Kareem Hunt sucked.
yeah.
So, yep, good calls on those. Kelsey was fine, but there's nobody else there right now. Wait till Rice comes back.
I'm
That's
telling
what
you,
I'm
a
thinking.
buy on Rashi
I'm
Rice.
thinking about reaching out to one of the
It's
guys in the
gonna be
league to go
worth
get
it
Rice.
because
Yep.
Worthy's still banged up. But I do kind of like this, like in terms of season long for Mahomes. I think we're gonna see like an angry Mahomes.
Oh, I
Like
think so
they
too.
are
They're
0
0-2.
2
Yeah.
right now. They just lost their
They've lost
second
three
time in a row
straight.
to the Eagles. Obviously the first one being the Super Bowl, but like he's gonna be angry.
I
And
also
like
think
when
this is
he's
a great
angry,
point to mention that people are out. They're saying the dynasty's over. No, it's not.
it's still
They
Patrick
lost
Mahomes.
they lost to the Super Bowl defending Eagles, and then they also lost to the Chargers, who look legit.
Yep.
So yeah,
Yeah.
let's not write them off too soon,
No.
please.
And I think this is good for Mahomes. Like everyone involved in the offense, I think will have big days at some point because Mahomes is going to show why he's a three-time Super Bowl champ.
Yep. Philly, Hurts not great. Saquon, great game. He got all the work. Yeah, with that in mind, I mean, it's the same offense. We don't need to talk about it, but just know that there's probably not going to be a lot of volume for AJ Brown and Devontae Smith. So there's going to be games where they will get volume, but you just have to expect games like this a lot.
Yeah, this offense confuses me right now. And honestly, like you mentioned great game for Saquon. Like, yeah, it is, but like when you're spending a top four pick on someone, like you don't
What do you
like you
score
it was
in terms of
it was
fantasy points?
18 points, I think.
That's
Like
solid.
no, it is solid, but like these past 2 weeks, like we just haven't seen the same offense.
Yeah.
Like in terms of like Saquon gets his carries, Jalen Hurts gets his rushing touchdowns, but like there's not. I'm still waiting for this like massive game from someone, whether it's like AJ Brown, Devontae. No one's
I
done it
think this
yet.
is a big game for Saquon though, because the
It,
Chiefs, I mean,
but if that,
The Chiefs run D is legit, dude. They're a
I
really
know,
good
but if
defense.
these are his big games going forward, like
I
it's
don't I
tough
don't
to.
think I don't think this is going to be his big game.
No, I hope not, but it is just something to monitor. Like this whole Eagles offense, like Jalen Hurts threw for 100 yards,
Yeah.
and AJ Brown did like get more involved. He had eight
They're going to
targets,
run as much as they can
but
though.
I'm still like I am worried about AJ Brown in terms of like a my guy. I don't think like
Yeah.
season long it's going to be a rough to look back at,
Yeah.
but like he will have his games. He's still like the deep ball guy there,
Mhm.
but it's just frustrating right now. I don't know what to think. I think you obviously have to start him every like I think you do,
For the time being, you do.
but it's getting to the point where if he has like a three
Devontae Smith, you
straight.
don't though.
No,
You have
no, I
better
don't think
options.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a frustrating offense right now.
Yep.
But for fantasy at least, they're winning
Oh
games,
yeah,
and
for
maybe
sure.
that's just who
But
they are now.
that's why they don't
Yeah,
do anything for
yeah, I
fantasy, because
know.
they just run the ball and it's effective.
Yep.
Falcons, Vikings, really boring Sunday night
Holy
game.
shit.
Penix was pretty bad.
Only one touchdown in the
Yeah,
game.
Drake London will still be the guy, but it was a really just disappointing outlook for the whole Falcons offense. The run game though,
Bijan,
Algier looked good and Bijan looked good.
monster.
I think both of them are worth owning. Bijan obviously, but yeah, Algier's worth owning on a roster. And then
Yeah.
Bijan looks, oh man, he's so good. Happy I got him in the
It
league.
just still makes me think of like Algier got 16 carries. Bijan still got 22.
It doesn't
Imagine
even
if he got like
matter.
30 carries. Like this thing
Yeah,
would break fantasy, but
22 is still ridiculous, dude. That's all they did was run. It was
yeah.
working.
Yep.
For the Vikings, JJ looked terrible. Jordan Mason was the lead back, so that's something to keep in mind. But it was a bad game all around.
No
Like
one,
Justin Jefferson is still the guy, but like it wasn't even a good game for
both
him.
offenses couldn't get anything going.
Yeah.
It was basically field goal fest and
Yep.
Algier punched one
And
in.
yeah, just run
But
all day.
yeah.
The Vikings didn't even have that many carries. I think the Falcons just like ran the clock well.
Yep.
Two Monday night games, Bucks Texans to start. Finally getting through this. Baker, clutch,
Yeah.
clutch. Yeah, Bucky's the truth, dude. Even though Rashad White had a touchdown, 10 for 65 and a touchdown, Bucky still had 17 carries.
Yeah.
And
And the receiving game is all Bucky.
and
It
he's
seems.
still 71% of snaps compared to Rashad White's 31%. Like, yeah, Bucky also stole all of Rashad White's receiving work from last year.
Mhm.
And he had like 4 catches on that last game-winning drive.
Yeah.
So I love that as a Bucky owner. Mike
Yep.
Evans is going to be, I think, solid. And then Igbuka, dude. I mean, yeah, he's great.
Yeah, it
Another
was
touchdown.
it like in terms of fantasy points, it was only like 12, but
Yeah,
like
pretty underwhelming.
but like it looked like a monster day right off the bat because he caught
Yeah,
the first score of the or the second score of the game. But yeah, no, I think everyone in this offense is gonna be have
something
some
at some point.
week to week
Yeah.
like have an impact on fantasy.
For sure. Um, Texans, that offense is bad. The offensive line is bad, and that's the problem. Chubb is the lead back, touchdown dependent feels,
Yeah, for sure.
and
Well,
Nico's the guy in the receiving game, and that's about it. I think any other receiver you have on this team, feel free to drop them. Hopefully, Christian
yeah,
Kirk coming back healthy will be a boost to the offense. But
yeah.
man, this is ugly. I don't want pieces of this offense at all.
I remember I said early on that Nico was the one first rounder I didn't feel comfortable with. This is
Probably.
kind of the reason why. It's just like he hadn't never done it consistently, and people were kind of putting
Yeah,
him in this
they were.
tier.
Because he had been consistent the last 2 years. The problem is, I really think this O-line is just terrible. They traded away Tunsil, and then they traded away some starting guard, and they were just like, let's gut it because
Well,
we're gonna then replace it with nobody.
I know, but
I'm
in
like, what
terms
are
of
you
like
doing?
fantasy, like the Bengals offensive line is terrible. Jamar, who is like people were putting Nico in that tier, and like
No,
Jamar,
that's crazy.
well, it's not, but like people said Nico wide receiver one overall. Like he's not. It's
He
a
hasn't
question if
been.
he's even a wide receiver
I
one
would have
right
given
now.
him the potential, but
Um,
yeah, I agree. It's not pretty so
because
far.
Stroud looks bad too. Like Stroud
Yeah.
looks horrible. Like
Yeah.
he's making like rookie level plays in year three
Yeah,
where
but this O-line needs to get it together because this is what we're going to see all year if they can't at least protect him a little bit.
as a
It's so
Nico
bad.
owner, like I would be worried. Like
Yeah,
I
I'm a
am
little
worried.
worried, but I'd also be pissed as a Texans fan because this is a good offense that just can't do anything because of the O-line, dude. And they have a great defense too. All right, there's no stats for the Chargers Raiders for whatever reason. Thank you, ESPN. Classic. But the Chargers,
Herbert
it was Herbert was
stud.
great again. Hampton and Najee split carries. That's concerning. The snap share also, Hamptons went down, Najee's went up a little bit. It was like 65,
There
35.
there also was a play at the end where it was seemed pretty clear to me that Hampton fumbled the ball and they gave the fumble to Herbert. It was
Oh,
right
I
at the
didn't
end of the
even see
game
that.
where like Herbert handed the ball off, Hampton dropped it, and they gave the fumble to Herbert.
Oh
So
wow.
like that was also on Hampton's name as well. Like that can't
Yeah.
be good.
No.
But it is a slow
Again,
start.
slow start for all the rookies.
Genti including in this game.
Yeah. All three receivers again for the Chargers looked good.
Yeah.
Keenan again,
Caught a touchdown.
Quinton again caught a touchdown, and Ladd again, just a floor guy.
Yeah.
I think this offense, I'm excited for this team. I said it already. They're legit. Their defense is good. And I think this offense is legit because they're using Herbert like they should be.
Yep.
Harbaugh's a great coach. And even if they split with Najee and Marion for in terms for the Chargers, not for fantasy, for the
Yep.
Chargers to win games, it's a huge upgrade from Dobbins and Gus Edwards from last year.
Yeah, I think Ladd is like you mentioned a floor guy with upside, so like I still feel good about him. But again,
Yeah,
this is what we talked about in the offseason of like he was kind of those second round picks. I didn't feel comfortable as a wide receiver one.
I
And it's for
agree.
this reason that like he's not that Malik Neighbors type build where he's gonna burn you for a 60-yard touchdown and just like that he has 30 fantasy points. Like
Mhm.
he will have big games, but it's good to see the floor there. Like he's still Justin Herbert's
I
go-to
think
look,
so.
I think.
It does feel that way.
So I'm not worried about him by any means, but in terms of the capital you spent on him, you might be regretting it a little bit, but
Yep.
he'll have his weeks. He's gonna have a good floor, so that's a good sign.
Yeah, Gino looked awful. Three
Terrible.
picks, no touchdowns. It's terrible. Jacoby, legit,
Hmm.
legit. He's getting everything in this offense right now
Yep,
from
yep.
Gino. Bowers had a down week. We could probably chalk that up a little bit
To
injury,
injury, yeah.
but at the same time, it does seem like Jacoby is the go-to over Bowers right now for
Yep,
Gino. So I'm not worried about Bowers by any means. I'm just saying Jacoby's actually, yeah, he's going to be great for
yep,
fantasy. Genty, got to be patient. He did not look good on the ground this week.
yeah.
bad showing for the Raiders as a whole.
It is just frustrating because like we've been saying, like be patient with rookie running backs, but when a guy like Gentry's
When
a
it's a
first
guy like
round pick
Genty,
going back
yeah,
into the first early second, like you don't want to be patient. Like this is a guy you're
right.
relying on to put up monster numbers. So I'm
Yeah,
not
and
worried
you
about
know
him,
what pissed
but
me off too, dude? So last week it was Genty had 80%, 86% of snaps. Zamir White had 14. This week, Genty was down to 56% of snaps, while Zamir White went up to 30. And they also got Dylan Laube in there for
yeah, the receiving
17%.
game, yeah.
So it's like, what are we like? Pete Carroll, come on, dude. What do we get Genty in there? So that's pretty frustrating. I'm not worried about Genty. I think the Chargers are very good, but
Yep,
yeah, we made it. We did it. There's
that's
the
the
recap.
recap.
Waivers should be pretty quick. Let's go through it. We probably touched upon some of these names. Wandale, add him. Great showing again. He's getting a ton of targets again from back-to-back years, and
Yep,
it's a QB upgrade. Bayshore Tootin, we talked about that. He's kind of feels almost 1B to ETN.
I would definitely.
Danny Dimes, if he's not owned already, this looks like a legit year for him in Indy.
Hmm.
Yeah, you know what? I heard somebody say his nickname, Indiana Jones. I love it.
Oh, for yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
Indianapolis. That took me a
Indiana
second. I
Jones.
was
Yeah.
like, what?
I
Okay.
love it. Judkins I threw in here because if he's not owned, pick him up, please. I'm big on Judkins right now. Troy Franklin's the other priority along with Wandale for receiver. Um, Cam Scatterbo, you mentioned it. If he's not owned, please pick him up. Alec Iamaner, I think he's worth owning. He
Hmm.
could be the one in this offense. Juwan Johnson, legit. We talked about it. I said Dubs. Without Reed, I think Romeo Dobbs could be
I think
okay.
he's
I
worth
think he's worth
us.
owning. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's why he's on here.
but
Zach Ertz, if
don't
he's
feel
not
bad.
owned, please pick up Zach Ertz. He had another good week, and will be a part of this offense. Hunter Renfrow, he ran so much out of the slot, got a ton of snaps.
Red zone work
Yeah, red
there.
zone
Yeah.
work. I think Renfrow could be something. He's
Yep.
worth owning. Harold Fannin, if he hasn't been picked up already, go get him. He was utilized again. And then Cedric Tillman, another touchdown. He's utilized in that offense as well. Anyone else to add?
No, that covers it.
All right, we got a good amount of drop candidates here today. Eckler, done for the year. Drop him. Caleb Johnson, I think he's droppable at this
I'd
point. He had two
agree.
snaps in week one, two
No,
snaps in week two, and after that mistake, there's a good chance those numbers don't go up anytime
yeah,
soon.
there's been no positives, so like it's
Right.
impossible to
It's just
roster.
yeah, open up your roster spot.
Yep.
It'll be easier. Jaden Blue, I said hold a week if you want. I ended up not I ended up dropping him anyways after week one, but he was a healthy scratch again. So yep, free that
Definitely
spot
not
up.
droppable.
Who else we got here? Colson Loveland, he's behind Komet still. Adunze's the guy. DJ Moore's the two. Cole Komet's the three. I think Loveland's droppable.
I agree. Yeah,
You
especially
need utilization at the
tight
tight
end. You
end.
you want
Yeah.
upside too, and he just doesn't have the
Yep.
volume.
Jaden Higgins, he's droppable. We talked about this Texans offense being bad. Nobody's
Yep.
worth owning outside of Nico in that offense right now.
Yep.
Well, sorry, receiving game. Um, JJ McCarthy, we talked about it. Drop him. He's hurt. Also hasn't been great. Jaden Reed, hurt. Drop him. Braylon Allen, I think he's worth dropping. It's Brees's backfield, and the Jets aren't fun to own anybody's anyways. So
Yeah. Yep.
and then I put two in here that I put with a question mark because I don't know how you feel about them, but Mark Andrews and Evan Engram, I think I'd be okay dropping both of them.
It's something that like it would depend on the options available, just because of the tight end position
Well,
in
let's
general.
put these two guys we said three guys we said to add. Juwan Johnson, would you rather Juwan or over Mark Andrews and Engram?
Yeah, I think
I'd
so.
agree. Fannin,
That's a I feel like he could be in like a similar realm to Ingram. Like
I
I think
think
they
I'd
could
take
have
Fannin over him.
I just think Ingram's still capable of like
Well,
big weeks. That like I don't think he I think like for example, Ingram could have a big week and then he's a waiver wire ad in a few weeks. Like you know what I mean? Like
sure.
just because of the tight end
How
position.
about how about Ertz?
I'd rather have Ertz
Me
and
too.
but both of them right now. But I just like you're probably not in a situation where you could have both. Like it's probably going to other teams in your league, if
Yeah.
that makes sense. So like
Here's why
Ingram,
I'm
I
out on
would.
Ingram though. Yeah. Oh, injury. Oh, he's hurt. He still ran less than Troutman, Adam Troutman this week,
Yeah,
and
that's not a
he
good
got like a
look.
7% target share, one catch, like I mentioned earlier. It's just he's not a part of this offense right now, and he is a little bit older. He's been injury prone in his career.
Yo,
I'd prefer Fannon's upside over him. I'd prefer Juwan's
I think
upside.
that's
I
fair.
prefer Ertz even with
I
touchdown upside. So
I think that's fair. It's just so hard right now to like react, but like everything we've
it
seen from
is.
Fannin is positive. Everything we've seen from Ingram is positive or
It's
negative.
worth
So
reacting at times. So like
it
Caleb
is.
Johnson's straight up droppable, even though you spent
Oh
capital on
yeah,
him.
and
So
like it's these reactions are the ones that make you wins and losses in fantasy down the line. So like
yep.
it's you take chances, but
Yep. All right. Trade targets. I will do my four trade targets. You do yours, and then I'll do my sells. You do your sells.
gotcha.
At quarterback, I said Josh Allen and Hurts. They're both by them right now. The both of them, they
If
had a bad week
possible,
too. Yeah, yeah.
I
But this
mean,
is the time where they're like, oh, well, Josh Allen broke his nose. Is he gonna be good again? It's like this is the time to buy these guys. You'll have to buy high, but you'll have to do it anyways. Judkins, he's my buy. I think just this is the I don't think you're gonna have a better chance to buy Judkins. So
mhm.
he's my buy. Drake London, I don't think there's a lot of really like buy lows at receiver right now, but I
Mhm.
think Drake London, if anybody out of like those wide receiver ones, I think
Hasn't had a big,
I think
yeah,
he's
yeah.
the one that you could still like. He did have
I
15
like that.
targets
I
week
like that
one,
as a buy.
even though it was only four targets this week and pretty ugly overall.
Mhm.
I think he's still a buy in my eyes.
Yo,
Um, and then Laporta, just a down week. I think he's still a big piece of this offense. So,
yep.
yeah, those are my buys.
Yeah, my buy, this is a weird one. Maybe it's thinking a little bit outside the box because I do get ahead in my fantasy leagues of like thinking playoffs already. So
Mhm.
don't take this with a grain of salt, but I said Burrow.
Yeah.
In terms of the timeline that they've kind of talked out is like week 11, 12 could be a time where he comes back from this injury. If you could just get him for dirt cheap or one of these hot waiver wire names and just throw him on the
He
IR,
could be
like
dropped.
yeah, like get him, like
Yeah.
throw him in the IR spot if open, and
Yeah.
whoever you have in that IR spot, drop them and put Burrow there because he is Joe Burrow when he comes
I think
back.
that's a good point though. If you have the IR spot available or if you threw some bum in there, like then I think that's worth it. But if you're utilizing it for somebody else, I probably wouldn't buy Burrow.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's just like a thought of like week 12, that's
I agree.
playoff push, playoff, and like that's a huge upgrade from anyone that you probably have besides
Yeah.
four guys. My running back is Jalen Warren, like I hinted at. He just seems like the guy. Like
Yeah.
there's all negatives for everyone else involved. Caleb Johnson. I'm blanking on the name of the other guy, or Kenneth
Kenny
Gainwell, but
Gainwell. Yeah.
like that's Kenneth Gainwell. He is who
Right.
he is.
Right.
Jalen Warren's done the most with all of those opportunities. My
Yep.
receiver by is Ted. Like he's just been super consistent, getting the volume, the targets, and doing a lot with them, making these crazy catches week to week. I just think it's only a matter of time before he starts getting in the end zone and these big weeks start to happen. So get him while you can. Kyle Pitts, I said is a buy. I just like think he
I
looks
don't
good
mind
in
it.
that offense. Like they're looking for him. He's motivated. He's blocking on plays. He looks like he's playing with a little more juice.
Yeah.
I think he can be a good top 10 option rest of
I
season.
think he's a true like you could buy him for nothing.
Yeah, no,
So
exactly. So like I
yeah.
think it could be a good consistent start.
Yeah,
All right, sells
for
bro.
sure. Sells at quarterback. I have Russell Wilson. I still think Dart's going to come in sooner than later. That's one thing, and two, I like I mentioned already. I think you can throw against the Cowboys. So, yeah, I think this is the best time you'll be able to sell Wilson. He's not throwing for 450 yards
No,
every week.
no.
Um, I also mentioned Tyrone Tracy because I do think we're seeing the script flip. But I also said slash nobody because I don't know if you want to trade Tracy right now. It's just one of those
I think it's
situations
sell low.
where,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a sell low, exactly. Um, Receiver, I said Jamison Williams, two catches only.
Yo,
I was trying to trade him for Tet straight up earlier. The guy said, "You're funny. I want Trey McBride instead." I'm like, all right, yeah, sure. Um, but yeah, I think Jameson Williams, for the team I have him on to, he's too boom bust. I need stability. So that's why I'm trying to get rid of him now.
yo.
But he could be very good. So that could bite me in the ass. And then tight end, I didn't put a sell.
Yeah. My first sell is a similar one to JMO in a little bit. In some ways, it's T. Higgins. I just think with the Burrow injury, like we mentioned before, it's going to be hard for Browning to support both him and Chase on a regular basis. And if you have some stat line lookers in your leagues, like they could see, three catch 50 yards and a touchdown, 15 points. like, oh, okay, T. Higgins is back. He bounced back. It wasn't really like that. It was a big play. So if you could get something for him and kind of get like a Ted McMillan potentially, like go do that. Ken Walker, I said it with a question mark just because of the fact that like he seemed like the name going into the season that was the big name, that one that you
Yeah.
drafted ahead of Charbonnet. And he kind of had this week, but Charbonnet still out carried him.
Yeah.
And so it's like, is this the
You want me to
ceiling
pull
for
up
Ken
maps
Walker?
too?
Sure, if you don't mind, but is this the
Yeah.
ceiling for Ken Walker? And could you upgrade to another guy that's going to be more consistent?
Mhm.
And then while you're pulling that up, or
He had 35% of snaps, Ken Walker.
okay,
That's it.
yeah. So like,
35 to 55% for Charbonnet. So
yeah,
Charbonnet's still outpacing him, outcarrying him, even though it wasn't productive. Wow,
yep.
I didn't realize it was that bad.
So like we mentioned, like it's going to be week to week where like it's no true alpha.
Yeah.
So this could be an opportunity. Ken Walker had a really good week, sell high.
Mhm.
Dolphins wide receivers, I just put like that means
Yep.
Tua, Jalen Waddle. I mean, sorry, not Tua, Tyreek, Jalen Waddle. They had good weeks for fantasy in terms of receiving yardage. Capitalize on it because I don't think that's going to be a consistent thing.
Yep, I agree. All right. We'll do our starts and sits. We'll bounce back and forth. So we'll put them together, easier for the listeners to
By
hear.
position, by position.
Yep.
Okay.
So I'll give my start QB, you give yours.
Okay.
At QB, I'm starting Mahomes this week versus the Giants. He's looked great through 2 games so far. And
Yep.
then in terms of the Giants defense, week one, it was Jaden Daniels who had like a 20 piece. And then Russell Wilson just cooked them for 30.
Yeah.
Or sorry, Dak had a solid outing.
Yep.
So regardless, Jaden Daniels and Dak had very solid outings against this defense. And then compound that on Mahomes already producing.
It could be a week that like Mahomes reminds us who he is too. Like, oh,
It
so
could,
I like that as
at
a
the same
start.
time, it could also be they just run the ball because they kill him. So
Yeah,
we'll
that's
see.
true.
But
Yeah. Speaking of Dak, my start is Dak versus the Bears. The Bears have defense has not looked good. They just
Mhm.
got put on 50 on by the Lions. And then week one against the Vikings, didn't look great either. They gave up 25 plus there. So Dak's kind of got unleashed. It's an opportunity for him to continue it, and light up the Bears.
Yeah, I mean, real quick, I know we want to buzz through these, but yeah, JJ actually had a good fantasy outing, even though he wasn't great against the Bears in
Oh
week
yeah,
one.
yeah, oh, you
And then
did.
also the Bears just lost Jalen Johnson, their star corner, for some time. So
Yep. So I think it's a good matchup.
yeah. So there you go, Mahomes and Dak. Running backs, I have Jordan Mason versus the Bengals. It's an easy matchup. We saw Tootin and ETN be productive against them this week. And then you also remove Aaron Jones for the week. So Mason's going to get everything. I
Mhm.
think he's going to be a plug and play and have an RB2 finish this week at least.
Yep, I agree. My start for running back is Jalen Warren against the Patriots. We've seen the Patriots defense give up some big fantasy days to the Raiders week one and then Dolphins last week.
Mhm.
I like we mentioned about Jalen Warren, it seems like he's kind of gone underrated. I think this is a week that he could get in the end zone and put up a 20 plus point game.
Yeah, I like it. Receiver, I kind of feel like it's a cop out with how he's actually been performing, but it's Zay Flowers versus Detroit. Roma Dunze just torched them, and if he's their number one receiver, um, yeah, I think it's going to be really nice for Flowers this week as the number one guy. All the targets will go to him, and they're going to have to throw because the Lions have an explosive offense.
Oh, yeah, no, I agree. My start for receiver is JSN versus the Saints. I think we both just this might be a freebie in some ways, but like we both said he's a bona fide
Yeah.
receiver one. Saints have given up some big games
Yep.
to both teams they've played. I think JSN continues his hot streak and just proves even further if you didn't believe it why he's a wide receiver one.
Yeah, this is a cop out.
Is it? We'll see. I don't
Because
like
who's sitting JSN?
see that's the thing.
I mean,
I
it's the
don't know if I
same.
understand
It's the
this
same. It's the same with
category,
Zay too.
but yeah,
I mean,
it is a little bit of a cop
QBs
out.
is a little tougher too, though. Like, right, we're saying guys that you're probably
Yeah,
starting
yeah.
anyways.
But yeah, just start JSN.
Yeah, yeah. Tight end. This is where I got weird with it. And this is one I like the call, and I hope I hit. That I'm saying Harold Fannin against the Packers, who we talked about having a legit defense and being really good. But when I saw what the tight ends did the last 2 weeks, Laporta got in the end zone in week one against the Packers. And this past week, it was Zach Ertz who got in the end zone and led. the Commanders in receiving. So it's the tight ends that are producing
Mhm.
because no other position can produce. So I think it's going to be a week for Fannin. And maybe you could throw in Njoku out there too. Everybody's going to say don't do it because Green Bay's defense is legit. I agree. But you got to look at the position. Fannin's my start of the week at tight end.
And it, for the most part, it could be a game that you consider the Browns are going to be down, so they're going to have to throw the
Yep.
ball. So
Yep.
I think it's an out there one, but I could see it.
That's what's fun about it.
Yeah, exactly. That's the point of it. My start is Pitts versus Carolina. Like I touched on one of the last games we talked about was he just looks more involved. Like he looks like he wants to be there,
Yep.
which wasn't the case last year. And Penix looks to be looking for him as well. So I just think Carolina's also been getting shredded their pet first 2 weeks. They don't look like a good team. I think it's a week where Pitts could catch a touchdown, have a big week.
For sure. Yeah, I think we did a little bit better of guys you may not start as our start
Yeah,
picks
except
for
for
tight end.
JSN, but
For tight end. For
oh,
tight
tight
end.
end.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Go Zay. Nobody's sitting Zay after his first 2 weeks
Yeah,
either.
yeah.
All right, starts or sits of the week. At quarterback, I have Russell Wilson versus the Chiefs. Hurts did nothing against them. And I know Herbert kind of cooked them in week one, but I don't expect the Giants to come out and have a good week. I think it was an outlier for them. They didn't look good against the Commanders in week one. Yeah, I think Russ is going to have an awful week, and people are going to want to start him. Just don't.
Yeah,
That's my opinion.
yeah, I think that's a good point based off the week he had.
Mhm.
My sit is Bo Nix versus the Chargers. The Chargers have just been kind of embarrassing people. Gino
Yeah,
put up like 350 against the Pats, and then he looked like
nothing.
awful, like
Yeah,
he looked like he shouldn't ever start a game.
yeah.
So I like the Chargers, like we mentioned, are legit. I think this is a weird matchup where like Bo kind of bounced back in some ways, still didn't really look amazing, but I think just potentially a sit if you have better options.
Yeah. Running back, I'm going back to the running back against Philly, and that's Kyron Williams. He's my sit of the week. Uh, yeah, I just that it's a really good run defense. I mean, Pacheco and Hunt did nothing,
Mhm.
and I think he could volume his way to a solid floor of a week, Kyron. But yeah, I'd consider other options if he's my RB2, and I could possibly play somebody else this week.
I think that's fair. Yeah, my sit is Amari and Hampton versus the Broncos. I think I
Mhm.
don't I mean don't take this too literally, but last week I said sit Caleb Johnson because we don't know what the situation is yet. We figured out the situation. Caleb
Yep.
Johnson will not be playing for the time
Yeah.
for anytime soon.
Yep.
Hampton is not in that situation where I think he's still going to get run. He's still going to be a guy that's involved in the offense. We just don't know yet. Like you said,
Yep.
him and Najee split carries. So we don't know. I think if you have better options, even though you spent high capital on Hampton, it's something to consider.
Yep. I think I would agree. It's a tough defense too.
Yeah.
Um, Wide receiver sit of the week, Tet McMillan versus the Falcons. And here's why. Pull up the Falcons schedule for me real quick. If you look at the Falcons schedule and who they've played, so week two, they just played the Vikings. JJ did nothing. First of all, JJ McCarthy threw for under 200 yards, and Justin Jefferson, as their wide receiver one, had 11 points. Also, then you look at the Buccaneers. Baker didn't even throw for 200 yards against them in week one.
Yeah.
Baker didn't look that good, and Agbuka got the touchdowns. But if you look at the number one for the team, it's Mike Evans, and Mike Evans was okay. I think this is more of a temper expectations. Don't sit Tet, especially if you don't have better options, which you probably want to start him. He's
Yeah.
exciting. He's been great. But this is definitely a temper expectations for Tet this week because teams have not been throwing well against the Falcons so far this year.
I think that's a good point. It is easy to get ahead of ourselves. Like I called Tet a buy this week. I think he could even be a better buy next week
Possibly,
if he has
possibly.
a down week. So
We'll
yeah,
see.
that's a good one. Mine is T. Higgins versus Minnesota. We talked about him a little bit. I think a lot of people could see that stat line and be like, oh, it's T. Higgins had a good game. It wasn't really the truth. So I think he's in that flex consideration right now, which means that he's not an automatic start. If you have some better options on your bench, some guys that you hit on in later rounds, T. Higgins has potential to be sad this week.
Yeah, my tight end set of the week, Jake Ferguson versus the Bears. Hawkinson did nothing against them week one, and last week Laporta did not do well. They're getting beat on the outsides right now. We saw it with Amon Ra,
Yep.
and then week one with the Vikings, it was it just wasn't great overall for them, but it was still Justin Jefferson. So they're getting beat on the outside, and the tight ends haven't done anything through 2 weeks. Both Hawkinson and Laporte are two good tight ends. Ferguson's my sit for this week.
Yep. And Mark Andrews, my sit. I think we both, like we've said throughout the episode when we've talked about him, he's kind of done. But at the same time, it is just that name that you're like, it's Mark Andrews. I have to start him. And just not the case anymore. So yeah, you can't start him with confidence. And I think it's honestly, you should sit him. It's not even really a question
Yeah,
right now.
yeah, I agree. But yeah, that'll do it. Hopefully, we do a little better with the start sits. Um, we might not talk about how we did with the buy sells going into next week, just because I know you got Burrow on there. Like there's some more season long type
Yeah,
things.
yeah,
Yeah, I even copped out of a few saying just there's just nobody to buy or sell.
yeah.
But yeah, we'll definitely do a check-in on the starts and sits again next week. I will get those timestamps up as always from now on. Yeah, appreciate y'all for tuning in. Anything else to add?
No, I felt like that went quicker. Let us know if
That that
it
that
felt
was
like it was more
that
efficient.
was it felt
Um,
more efficient. It was still the same time.
that's all right.
Yeah.
We'll get to it, but
Yeah.
it did feel more efficient. So yeah, no, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Cool.
hope for a good week 3 as well.
Yeah. Good luck week 3. Yeah. Thanks for
Peace.
tuning in. See you next episode.